What's up, everybody? It's your man Ant Walker here with the Body Lock. I've got my homie Matt Wells joining me to talk about some of those interesting things that just seem to keep creeping up in mixed martial arts. And you know, they always want us to keep sports and politics separate, but we just can't because reality kind of precedes your hopes and dreams. There, everyone. So Pat Miletich has in his Facebook page, he put up a couple of pictures of him next to people at the protest that turned into a riot at the Capitol in Washington D.C. Because of this, because of his involvement with the entire debacle that was the aforementioned riots, he has now been suspended from LFA. His statement via Instagram made it seem like he was fired, but LFA, I guess, has put out a statement saying that he is suspended and he will not be working for the commentary booth for the upcoming card. Matt, obviously, I mean, we always seem to get a hold of these topics. It keeps coming up in mixed martial arts. So here we are again. What was your initial reaction first for Pat Miletich, being there at the protests slash riot?
Well, seeing him there did not surprise me at all because I've followed. Well, I'm friends with Mike Jackson, who is friends and has worked with Pat on the LFA circuit, right? So I've seen their interactions on Facebook all the time. So I know where Pat Miletich is coming from. He's got a podcast called The Conspiracy Farm. And if you go on his Facebook page, it's all over the place. So seeing him out there was probably the least shocking development of the weekend when it comes to faces being identified that we're familiar with being out there. I 100% expected this from him. I am glad though to see the immediate backlash from a lot of people, especially considering the MMA circles there's a lot of very vocal right-wing people in MMA circles, right? So I am glad to see that there was a lot of pushback on that. But the statement from LFA this evening that came out of that after that, kind of concerning. Like, okay, he, like you said, he made it seem like he was going to be fired in his little video statement that hasn't since been pulled down from Instagram. I don't know if it was reported and taken down for whatever reason, but it's no longer there. Maybe if some site ripped it or whatever, you can go find it on the internet and listen to what Pat had to say earlier. But just a suspension for being in the vicinity of the murderous riot coup that saw police officers killed and all sorts of other untold things that are still coming out. It's ridiculous. And I don't know. Like I said, it's not a surprise to see that Pat was involved in this in any way. And the most concerning part about it, though, not just his involvement of being out there, but his defense of being out there is where things get a little bit crazy. Him saying he saw no violence. What? Like putting that statement out after the fact when there have been multiple videos going viral of said violence. How can you then go to your social media feed and say, I saw no violence? Bro, everybody in the world has seen the violence now. What do you mean?
Yeah. I had a very similar reaction to you. When I saw the pictures of Pat Miletich there, not a bit of shock. He is one of the first people that I would expect from the MMA world to be there. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you organized the whole thing. Just like I have, I say that in jest, but I've had similar, interactions with him on social media. I too have Facebook friends that are friends with him, and through mutual friends, I have had a little bit of back and forth with him. I've went back and forth with him on Twitter a couple of times about these random conspiracy theories or hardcore right-wing political ideologies and whatnot that he has. So that doesn't shock me at all that he was there. I'm just more surprised that more people from the MMA world were not pictured there, or at least they haven't published those pictures. So I was more surprised that I didn't see those pictures on my Facebook feed as opposed to seeing a screenshot of them on Twitter. That was more of a shock to me than anything else. Now, his statement, um, man, what a piece of trash. That statement is legendary garbage. So to say that you did not see any violence, so did that stop people from dying? Did those people pretend they died for the deep state or whatever the case may be? Like, that is rooted in no relevance. So if you were there and you didn't see any violence, did you walk through for 5 minutes, take a few pictures, and then go to your hotel? Because everyone else in the world saw a lot of violence, a
Yeah.
whole lot of violence. That is the one person who we got an account from that was on the scene that said they saw no violence.
Right.
The
Exactly.
singular human being. I challenge anyone watching this right now, find someone else that says they didn't see any violence and they were right there. Please.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, all the violence was sparked by Antifa though. So
oh, of course, of course. So that doesn't count. That violence doesn't count because you know, to then and then to have this unbelief, this like, oh my god, I can't believe they did this to me, but freedom is not, is not free, and whatever else he said on Instagram. It's like, dude, you were pictured next to people throwing white power signs with right-wing death squad patches on their tactical vests, looking like
mhm.
some goofball GI Joe cosplayers, and you're shocked that there's some level of backlash for this. Yeah, and while you're literally standing next to people who by their attire are exuding violence. Oh, there was no violence there. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I'm not seeing how these two things make sense when put together. And then on top of that, oh yeah, the literal hundreds of videos that we see depicting all sorts of violence that day.
Yeah.
Um,
Including the actual video of the woman getting shot. Like that
yes,
full video is available to
yes,
be seen.
and a video of her gasping for air as she bleeds out from her neck,
Yeah.
along with video of a police officer getting beaten with flagpoles, along with images of the police officer who passed away, unfortunately, um, standing there with someone holding a fire extinguisher, the fire extinguisher that is believed to have caused his death by bludgeoning,
Yeah.
um, ready to cock and swing it upside his head.
Yeah.
But there was no violence according to Pat Miletich.
No. No.
So, so I don't know if the lizard people got to him or whatever the case may be, but that statement, both his initial statement about not seeing any violence, and then his Instagram post, just total garbage. That doesn't make you a martyr because you lost your commentary job, which doesn't even seem like you really lost your job. Like you have to sit down for an event. You
Mhm.
are not a martyr if you align yourself with a bunch of idiots, a bunch of buffoons, and a bunch of bigots. This is the company you keep. Therefore, these are the consequences that you must accept. I'm not quite understanding why is this air of, oh, I sacrificed myself for the cause. No, you sacrifice yourself for a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. And
Simple as that. And not really sacrifice yourself because LFA is talking about suspending him for one event.
for
Now,
now, for now.
for now, no, maybe, and even though this could turn into a permanent thing, it just shows you what a, excuse my French, what a limp dick response that is.
Yeah.
That, you are involved with a literal act of treason, an act of treason that resulted in multiple deaths, and an international embarrassment. Yet, let's just wait for this to blow over and just see what happens, because that's exactly what it sounds like from LFA. Even if they do extend this to a permanent just Xing of Miletich from the commentary booth, still, the fact that they're not taking a stance on this right away says a whole lot about what they actually feel um, centering these events. So, Matt, I can't say I'm shocked because this is mixed martial arts, and we have seen plenty of things that have made you and I have a varying level of disgust and confusion and anger and what other negative emotions you can muster up. So this is par for the course as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, man. It's all like you said, it's par for the course. It's all very much expected. Listen, I can see why LFA is not coming out and just putting their foot down on this. Again, because of the support that we see from the right wing side in the MMA community. Also for Pat and him as a person as well. Like he's very good on commentary. I will give him that. Very good on commentary. He has a good commentary voice. He knows how to call a fight well. I will give him that credit. Right. And of course, he has his own legacy that comes with his name as experience in the sport, being the first UFC welterweight champion. Right. He's got history with that comes with his name. All that being said, if you attend an event and you are proudly taking pictures at an event that has not happened in, I believe, over 207 years in this country, where a group breached the Capitol and people lost their lives, and people attend this event during a pandemic, which is raging right now. You know, the deaths and the cases are going up and up and up. New variants are getting around. And hey, everybody at this murder coup decides, hey, we're not going to wear masks because we don't believe in masks. So that, hey, we're here. You can see our face. It's a lot of craziness that I don't even want to really get into here to go too political, even though this is pretty much a political angled video, but it does have ties to the MMA world, right? And we've seen other fallout from this event, not just tied to Pat Miletich, right? Most of these articles that have kind of touched on this topic directly with Pat Miletich, you know, they've embedded Facebook posts, they've embedded Instagram posts. Those are coming down as we see that these companies are cracking down on things that have been showing support for that coup attempt on the Capitol, right? Twitter's cracking down, Facebook's cracking down, all this stuff. So you'd be hard pressed to find an article that didn't actually go and screenshot it. If they embedded it, you're not going to know what was there. So, you know, you got to kind of search around for these things. But we've seen this fallout affect not just LFA, not just Pat Miletich, but the UFC is getting a lot of backlash as well. Because as we know, former interim welterweight champion Colby Covington rocking that MAGA gimmick hard, as we all know, right? Dana White, very close friend to Donald Trump, created a documentary and put it on Fight Pass for no reason to support Donald Trump. And yes, Donald Trump has somewhat of a legacy as when it comes to his support of martial arts, I guess being a figurehead and help showing his support for the sport over the years. So what was the point? What was the point of that? I mean, other than Dana's good friend is now the president of the United States. There's just been a lot of stuff that when you look back on it, doesn't really make sense to be a cheerleader, like a gross representation of a cheerleader for this political person, this political figure. Never in the history of politics has this happened before where it's been like this. You know, I mean, I voted in 3 elections now, I think 3 or 4 elections now. Not once have I ever thought about buying a political affiliated piece of attire. Not a hat, not a t-shirt, nothing. But these people are rocking Trump MAGA gear like it's going out of style. I mean, it literally is now.
It is out of style now.
You know, it literally is. But
got a few days left for that.
Yeah, it's a cult mentality, man, and we're starting to see all this stuff come to a head. And now is really the time to pay attention to who was rocking with it, and now who's trying to slowly distance themselves from it without actually directly mentioning that they're distancing themselves from it. Because I see some of y'all. I see.
Yeah, I definitely paying attention to a lot of that too, and I think you definitely brought up a good point about the crackdown that across the board social media platforms have for certain accounts and spreading certain ideas and whatnot. I don't know if you've noticed this, Matt. I certainly have. My Twitter feed has been a lot quieter. I have received a lot less of the knee jerk responses to my personal opinions that I post up, and even when I look at other threads, I'm seeing a whole lot less of bot behavior. So we are seeing the effects of what a cleaned up social media feed looks like.
Mhm.
So I would not be surprised if Pat Miletich, like his accounts in particular, are pretty out there. I wouldn't be surprised if he were on the chopping block for this. I did go back earlier today and look at his Twitter feed. He hadn't posted anything on Twitter since I believe November.
Mhm.
If I'm not, I don't know if he went back and scrubbed a bunch of things, but
Or
um,
Twitter deleted stuff. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, I
with
looked
Twitter,
as well. I couldn't find
yeah,
anything.
yeah, couldn't find anything. But we might just be seeing the effects of of the crackdown on social media for uh, conspiracy theorists and right wing slash white supremacist ideas and policies and that are being pushed on social media. So that's probably what it is. But I'm just so not shocked that once again the world of mixed martial arts finds itself tangled up with this. I'm just surprised that this is the furthest extent. But I do think, as far as the UFC is concerned, there's certainly a design behind this, and like you said, there are. It is good to pay attention to who was vocal that isn't being vocal now. The UFC is very quiet. Dana White very quiet. Colby Covington extraordinarily quiet. Jorge Masvidal one statement about leaving Twitter, and I don't know if he actually did or not. But not a whole lot there either. So I am very tired of having to use these platforms to discuss things other than people punching and kicking each other in the face for money, because
Yeah.
that's what I came here for. But unfortunately, we just can't duck that reality. This is the sport that we are involved in, and these are the figures that we must report on. So Pat Miletich, at least temporarily out of a commentary gig, although that looks like that will be changing if we are to read a little deeper in between those lines of LFA's statement. So, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, listen, all I have to say is all of these people that are, still perpetuating like these false claims of what occurred last Wednesday. Um, listen, the evidence is out there, people. Like we have video evidence. We have not only video evidence of the mob, but we have video evidence of who enticed that mob. Okay. I mean, it's all out there for you. There's no more theories to be made. And it's really, really like you said, like I'm tired of having to tie these things into MMA because MMA is tying it in for us. We're just here to talk about it and make sense of it. And none of it really does make sense other than, yeah, listen, everybody has their right to speak on politics. I'm here for the political commentary. If you follow me on Twitter, right?
Me as well.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But at the same time, here at the Body Lock, man, we want to talk fights. And yeah, we talk about stories outside of the octagon as well. But man, this particular topic, I'm sick of talking about because it has so many ugly ties to it that go well beyond the cage, man. We're talking about the guy was in the vicinity of an event where people lost their lives and then got on the internet a couple days later. I saw no violence.
Yeah, I mean, just to, I guess, put a cherry on top of that particular statement, I do recall one particular interaction with Pat Miletich via Twitter. I believe it was Twitter, not Facebook this time. But anyway, I'm citing actual sources of information, like actual reputable news sources and articles and whatnot, by respected journalists. And to the only response he could muster was like, "Huh, you actually believe the news?" It's
Yeah,
like, okay, well, I mean, hey,
that's
if
that's what.
you it's like, all right, bro, if you don't believe like any sort of reputable, well-established, respected news outlet, but you'll believe whatever is put on Randy's libtard lies blog posts. It's up to you, fam. It is what it is. So Matt, I'll wrap it up with just one question in your direction here. So Rudy Giuliani called for a trial by combat. You think you could take him?
Rudy Giuliani?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a tough one, man. One punch might like actually sink my fist into his body, and then like I wouldn't be able to get it back. So he may be able to. I don't know.
Like suck you into a vortex of blob.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how that would actually work out.
Blind you with the hair dye.
Maybe
Running down. I don't know.
Maybe something. I wouldn't touch that guy with a 10-foot pole, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere near his orbit. So yeah, he can keep all that dumbass rhetoric way away from me.
Well, that's mixed martial arts for you, everybody. So remember, like, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, tell that friend to tell 10 more friends. Please leave all your angry comments below if you still have a YouTube account. So yeah, there it is. I'm Ant Walker. He's Matt Wells. Thanks for watching.